Hello, romance readers. Welcome to Illicit Liaisons with Tender and Tempting Tales, where each week we discuss the good, the bad, and the naughty of romance fiction. I am Jenna Harte. I am a romance author of the contemporary romance series of Southern Heat and the Sexy Valentine mystery series. And I'm also the managing editor of Tender and Tempting Tales, a steamy romance anthology for readers who like romantic quickies.
Hi, I'm Tara Leederman, social media manager here at Tender and Tempting Tales, and lore maven and main fiction writer for Starship Valkyrie, a science fiction game and story universe. I write science fiction stories, including romance, and you can often find me in our anthologies online and running Valkyrie at Strategicon.
And today we're very excited to have a guest, Mariah Ankeman. A best-selling romance author, Mariah lives in the beautiful Rocky Mountains with her two rambunctious children and a loving spouse who is her own personal spell checker when her dyslexia gets the best of her. Mariah loves to lose herself in a world of words. Her favorite thing about writing is when she can make someone's day a little brighter with one of her books. And of course, you are going to find links to Mariah in our show notes. Just to tell you what it is, it's mariahankenman.com, and her Instagram is also at mariahankenman.com. And welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Here at Illicit Liaisons, we like to talk about bookish news, hot takes, the tea, if you will, in the bookish world, and like to see what our guests are thinking about things. Some of the news that has just come up is we know that, at least for authors, readers might not realize this, but Draft2Digital is now going to start charging fees. Draft2Digital for our readers is one of the platforms authors can use to distribute particularly their ebooks through a variety of sources, including the libraries, and to other places beyond Amazon. It's always been free, and now they're going to start charging a few fees for that. And it seems in line with a lot of other places that are also charging fees now that hadn't charged before. And then, of course, we also learned that Kindle is going to be ending support for some of their really old models of Kindle. I think you could still read what you got on there. You just can't access the store and do all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I never have any sort of digital item that's old enough to fall out. I mean, I love my gadgets. I don't know. What do you guys think about the Kindle thing? Like, is that gonna hurt readers or
I will be honest, I have a Kindle, but I mostly read on my iPhone and my iPad.
Yeah,
Like I have a Kindle, it's got my cute little never-ending story book cover on it. I love it.
cute.
But but honestly, like I read on my phone most of the time with the Kindle app, but I do think it is like kind of unfair that you spent so much money on a device and then all of a sudden they're like, nope, we're not supporting it anymore. Now you have to buy the new one. Give us more money. It's like, come on, Amazon, do you really need more money? No, no, you don't.
yeah.
Yeah, I have an old device actually from the beginning of my PhD from 2012 that is probably going to get phased out pretty soon because I think the first ones they're doing are 2010, and I'm pretty sure that mine will get phased out. I actually have a paperwhite from 2013 when I started my reading year, so I'm a little concerned about that. I think the reason they're doing it might have something to do with some kind of reverse compatibility thing that they don't want to manage anymore to make sure that new books coming out have a special features and stuff, and they're probably adding like
Mm,
compatibility for features for things like the color soft, and they don't want to make sure that it still works on the really old models, like that, even though they haven't gotten a new update for their hardware in a long time, there's still going to be compatibility issues and they don't want to support that anymore. That's my guess. I do not know that for certain. If I could think of a reason why they would do that other than to extract more money out of people, that's the one that I would think of. I still think that like it would be better for them to make most books available and just say this is only for the color soft for certain books if it has that kind of like a compatibility issue rather than just across the board and support. I think for most books,
yeah.
people could continue to use the Kindle, those Kindles, and it would be fine. They could just read text on it. The big problem to me is that people, if they have to reset these models, which they're older, sometimes they do need a reset. They won't be able to get their libraries back onto them, and that's the thing that really frustrates me. It's I understand not wanting to continue supporting them compatibility wise, but ending support entirely so they can't get back on the store and resync your library, that seems unnecessary to me.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. As I had mentioned earlier when this came up, I can see if you have an older Kindle, it's working just fine. why make it tough? It probably hasn't had an update in over a decade, but if it's working, like, why not just let them be? The compatibility makes an compelling argument, because if you have to have multiple versions of a book in order for it to work on multiple versions of a kit, I could see, because that takes up storage, that takes up time.
Yeah.
But I also think I was comparing this to Apple, which is always doing stuff like
Yeah.
this, right? I mean, you can
Mhm.
have an Apple device for only a couple of years and all of a sudden it's rendered, unusable or whatever. So as far as fussing about that sort of thing, if this is the first time Kindle's done it, I'm like, okay, whatever. Plus, you do have your Kindle app that you don't even need a Kindle for that. You can
Yeah.
access all your stuff through your app.
I can't
So,
remember the last time I actually read on my Kindle
Yeah.
because
yeah,
because I'm usually out and about and I'm like, well, my phone's right here. It's just so
yeah,
much easier.
Yeah.
yes, I'm
I
the
do think
same.
that they will accelerate doing this. I think more models will go into
Yeah.
the in the incompatibility bin after this, after it's been accepted by readers. This is the thing that people were warning about when it came to digital media years ago. From
Yeah.
between 2006 and 2012, there were a lot of people warning about, I mean, between iTunes and like if you don't really own your media, you're kind of only renting it, this could happen to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now we're running into it. I'm actually shocked. I'm actually a little surprised that these Kindles were supported as long as they were, to be
Exactly.
completely honest with you.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of them didn't necessarily have updates. They just
No.
continued to work, right?
Yeah. Our biggest drama this week, a YouTuber, What Michael Reads, did a video recently about issues in the ARC pipeline, the honesty of reviews, how ARC decisions get made, who gets ARCs, and how book influencers behave around ARCs. And Mariah, we were wondering, like, what do you think about the current state of ARCs, reviews, bookish influencers, and what's been your experience so far?
Oh man, there's so many thoughts surrounding arcs and so many big feelings. So for my traditionally published books, obviously my publisher mostly handles the arcs and the NetGalley stuff. And then when I do indie books, I will use like a book promo service to run like my NetGalley. So I am one of those authors who like I don't want to have any like connection to that. I don't want to pressure readers. I don't want to handle the ARC team. I don't want to do any of that. That feels very invasive and like very not where I want to be. So I let other people do that for me. Personally, I appreciate any review I get, even bad ones, because then that proves that you're not paying people for reviews, which is don't do that. It's not a good thing to do. I appreciate all reviews. I also appreciate not being tagged if they're bad reviews. Like
For
it's
real.
fine if you hate my book. You don't have to tell me about it. That's okay. That's for other people. But yeah, there's a lot of people have big feelings about arcs. And as an author, I like to let someone else handle the arcs because that's not my space. Like, as they say, reviews are for readers, and that's what an arc is. It is an advanced reader copy so that they can review the book before it comes out to let the readers know, hey, here's what's in this book, here's what I liked about it, here's what I didn't like about it. At that point, as the author, the book is done. There's nothing I can do about it. So I don't need to know. That's for everyone else to know. That's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
recently
I
that this a different booktuber talked about there being like a person tagged the author saying, if I don't get an arc, I'm not gonna ever read your book.
I saw that. That's
Yeah.
so mean. Half the
Oh
time we
no.
don't even have control over who gets our arcs. Like
That's what
it's
the
not
author
up to
said.
us.
Yeah. She was like,
Yeah.
I have a promo service doing this. I have nothing to do with it. Like, but it was just I couldn't believe she tagged her. I was like, oh my God, like what are
and
you
it, and it
doing?
and it wasn't an indie author. It was like a St. Martin Press
Hmm.
author, right?
Yeah,
Like it was a
so
big
Debut.
five
they
author.
really
Yeah.
have
Like
no
she can
control.
tell St. Martin or whoever it was, like send her a book. Yeah. And
She's threatening
this
me.
is this it's so weird to
Yeah.
me sometimes how I guess humans are such that they can create drama anywhere, including
Mhm.
in the book world, right?
Oh,
Which is
especially in the book
it's
world.
a solitary activity, and yet we go online and of course, loud and clear, authors here, you need to stay out of the reader community. You need to, reviews are for, you know, and so the idea that a reader would tag an author so that they know for sure I didn't like their book
They do
Like,
that all the time. They
you
say,
don't want us to
yeah,
come visiting, you need to like not tag us, right?
exactly. We will stay out of your space. Stop
Yeah.
bringing us into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The arc thing I found interesting with Michaela was that she was talking as a creator who gets books. So it was an interesting sort of to see her take on it. And she was sort of calling out other creators that seem to create status by getting arcs from the big five. Felt that maybe some of them were disingenuous about their reviews because they were getting these books. Possibly she's getting less books because she is giving truthful reviews and they're not always very great. I mean, there was a whole wide, she went through a lot of things on there that I thought as an author, that makes this really difficult for us because, we're relying on you who read and talk about books to provide something. And now, sort of like, well, wait a minute, what am I getting? I mean, I've heard, she said some businesses will tell people not to leave a review if it's under 3. And I
Yeah.
did once see a PA go after readers who were leaving 4s or something. And so that's all wrong. I just thought, why is this so getting complicated? And she even talked about doing a sponsored review for somebody. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, well, that would be,
Sponsored review.
yeah, that would be
What's
even
it?
more
What's that?
pressure to say something good. And she said, but no, I only do it and I'm only honest and whatever. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, what's the difference when the people get the book for free? Right? Same
Mhm.
thing. We have to trust that they're going to be honest. I also wondered when she talked about getting less book reviews, there's also an effort, I think. I mean, I don't know why she's getting less books to review, but what if it were a situation where they're noticing she tends to review these types of books not very well?
Mm.
That's what my book is. She may not be the best, the same way we go
Yeah.
to find regular readers, right?
Mhm.
If I'm sending out the Valentine books and people are saying I don't like the spicy bits, then I'm like, okay, not them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
yes.
sending it to them because they're all going to have a spicy bit, right? So I don't know. It's just, why is it so complicated?
She tried to talk about it from the perspective of like a marketing company or a social media manager and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, of course, they're going to want to send it to people who have really big followings. And I totally
Yeah.
relate to that, right? Like, I want to get our books to people with big followings as well.
Right.
And she said, and of course, they want to send it to people who only give high reviews. And I disagreed with that. I mean, like, I could see the social media manager who felt that way. But when she said that she gave honest reviews, that she read the books, that she had integrity, my immediate reaction was, I want to send you our anthologies because I don't want marketing copy in the reviews that makes it feel like people didn't read the book. I don't want all of our reviews to say things like that, right? Like I want it to be, I read this book and it's obvious I read this book because here are my thoughts, not just this is a scintillating anthology of of holiday stories or anything like that that just feels like bland that you could have gotten from the back cover. And I understand everyone has their own reasons for reviewing arcs. Like they're not doing it out of the goodness out of their heart. They're doing it to
Right.
expand their presence. They're doing it because they like they want more people to see their Goodreads or their Instagram, and they want to receive free books and they want to be part of the community and have things to talk about. Like there are more reasons than just I'm doing this for authors out there, and you have to be open-eyed about that as a social media manager or an indie author because you're kind of your own indie social media manager as well. But yeah, I mean, I really want reviewers who feel like they've actually read the book so that their reviews are helpful to other readers who might want to decide if they're going to read the book or not. And I feel like an ad copy arc review doesn't help anybody make that decision. And like
Yeah.
readers are smart. They'll see that and be like, "Oh, this person like they're just reviewing it this way because they received it for free." It doesn't look real, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 I don't think she's our reader though. So I think she's a thriller
Oh,
reader.
she's a thriller reader, right? But like just a person like that. Like I wouldn't want to
Yeah. Yeah.
reach her immediately,
Yeah.
right? She's
Yeah.
not like one of our little romance readers, but like someone like
Yeah.
that who said that,
Yeah.
I'd be like, absolutely,
Yeah.
please read this. Rake us over the coals if you must, but read it.
Yeah.
Tell us what
But
we can do
the
better.
other thing I think we need to remember is readers who go online and start talking or sharing about books, they aren't doing it for authors. They're doing it because they love books and they want to share the books they love. And then
Yeah.
out of that, they start getting free books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So they,
community. They want to talk to each other.
yeah,
They're not doing it for us. You know, they have to
yeah.
understand they have their own reasons for what
Yeah,
they
and it must be exciting to start getting books in the mail and stuff. I mean, there was a
do.
time
Mhm.
I was doing work online where every now and then I get some books in the mail. That was kind of fun. I get it. I get it. The other part of that is if they're getting a lot. She talked about getting one almost every day
Oh,
for a
yeah.
time. And then it becomes how do you review all that,
Yeah,
right?
that's too
Yeah.
many.
And
Yeah.
there have been questions in the review world about whether or not these readers are able to read all the books that they
I saw
have.
someone on Goodreads who had over 5,000 reviews. And I was like, how? Are you
Yeah.
200 years old? How would you have that many reviews? I don't understand. Like, that's amazing to me. Just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know that I doubt it so much as I'm just stunned by it.
Yeah. 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 But there are people who read a lot, particularly in romance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, good for them. I wish I have started simultaneously reading and listening to a book. Well, not at the same time, but like if I could sit, I'll read it. But if I'm moving about, I'm listening to it, and then I just have to mark, where I am.
Where it
I
is.
try to end on a chapter so I can go right to it, whether on my phone or whether, and I do find I'm getting through it faster that way. Um, because it's been busy and I haven't been able to run around a lot. All right, more news or
Hot
more
take
hot
time.
takes here. Cyclical nature of hot takes in the online bookish. What goes around comes around all the time. Tara wrote this question. It was romance novels not needing a happily ever after, and I'm like, when has that ever been okay?
Well, yeah, this is
Like
a
every
hot take that
Tuesday.
comes up
But I
over and over
do
and over
know,
again.
but I do know, some in the cliffhanger thing because I have one on my shelf that I refuse to read. But then also, reading romance doesn't count as real reading.
Hmm.
Or if you're listening, I just admitted to listening sometimes. When I'm listening, I guess I'm not reading technically. What are some of your thoughts about any of that or any hot takes you have about some of the craziness that comes up?
Oh, the romance doesn't need a happy ending is a hill I will die on so much that I put it in my upcoming book and I have the characters arguing about it in Backstage Night with the Billionaire. And the funny thing is there so she's doing an aerial production of Romeo and Juliet, her aerial company is. And she's like, it's the greatest romance ever. And he's like, didn't like six people die in that play? That's not a romance. It's a cautionary tale because
Yeah,
they love when you say romance needs a happy ending. They're like, what about Romeo and Juliet? And I'm like,
yeah,
first of all, that's a play.
It's a
Second,
tragedy.
it's called The Tragedy of
yeah,
Romeo and Juliet.
yeah,
Third, go away. Like,
It also
go away.
predates the genre of romance. Like
Yeah.
this is
yeah,
not a comparison. Like this is
yeah.
from the freaking like gosh, it's from the like this the 16th century. Like it
16,
doesn't
Yeah.
yeah,
count.
And they had tragedy and comedy. That's what
Mhm.
they had. Tragedy
Yeah.
and comedy.
And histories. Yeah. They
Yeah.
didn't
yeah,
Yeah.
do
And
like genre romance
no,
novels.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So no, romance, capital R, romance needs a happily ever after or a happy for now. And if it's a series, like a, three-book series, it's okay for the first one to have a cliffhanger as long as, they're going to get together in the end. But if it's a romance book, has to have the happy ending. Not arguing with anyone. I have straight up blocked people from my life because they wanted to argue with me about it. And I'm like, nope, you're done. We're done.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're
I
done.
love it. You and I are best friends now. I'm the same way. I mean, it's the whole point, right? Like
Yeah. It is
in
the
my
one
mind.
rule. It is the
Yeah.
one
It's a big
rule.
rule.
It is the
Yeah.
agreement
Yeah.
between author and reader. Happily
Yeah.
ever
It's
after.
sort of like having a mystery that isn't solved at the end, right?
Right?
You're
Oh,
like, wait.
Or a horror book that's not scary at all.
Yeah.
Like
No
what is
monsters.
the
Yeah.
point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like genres. I look at this academically, unfortunately, which is that like genres have conventions, and woe be unto you if you break the conventions, right? Like readers have certain expectations, and like yes, there are tropes you can choose from among tropes. That's fair, but like happily ever after is not a trope; it's a convention of the genre. Do I think you could write some kind of lovely women's fiction where things end in a bittersweet way, but you grab a little bit from romance? Sure, that
Yeah.
would be artistic and lovely, but it wouldn't be genre convention romance. It
It
Yeah.
would
would
be a
be
romance.
outside
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the genre. If you kill
Nicholas
your daddies,
Sparks.
if you kill it, well, in here, if you kill your mommies, in romance, you will be outside of the genre, and you just have to
Yeah.
accept that, and that's okay. But it puts you outside of the genre
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
Then your book just has romantic elements. And that's what I
Element.
tell people when they're like, but it's a love story and then they die. I'm like, then it's fiction with romantic elements.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
There
do
you
think
go.
people get stuck on that. When I used to be an agent, I get stuff sent to me all the time that they try to squeak into romance, and I'd be like, this ain't that, right? And
No.
sometimes it even ended well, but I was like, this still isn't that, because this story really isn't about the two of them, right?
Hmm.
It was more likely what, I don't know if they call it women's fiction anymore, but that's sort of where it landed. It was sort of like Bridget Jones type of thing. It was
Mhm.
funny.
Yeah.
She ends up with Mark Darcy, but still not technically romance, right? It's
Yeah.
really it's about her and her
It'd be
coming
like
into
calling
her
Devil
own.
Wears Prada a romance because there's a romance in it somewhere, you
That's
know?
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, then there's Wuthering Heights, the greatest romance
Oh,
ever written, or
oh no, don't
whatever.
get started, Jenna.
I know, right? Like, wait, what? They're dead in the beginning. How could that be?
Like
Yeah.
it's
Spoiler
only because
alert.
it's older and it influences a lot of romance authors, I
Yeah.
think. So people think of it's like in their personal canon of like romantic stories. I understand why, because you read it when you're
Yeah.
14, you're thinking about genre conventions. I understand why people are
Yeah.
confused. But also like those people I would say like go read it again now that you're an
Yeah.
adult and think about
Yeah.
it.
Stop watching the movies, right? Because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
never even do the whole thing.
All right. Let's get on to let's talk about Mariah here. All
Yeah.
right, so Mariah, my dear, we know you're a huge advocate for disability representation in romance, and
Yes.
I want to talk to you about what sorts of disability representation you've written so far in your books.
I have, oh my goodness, I have so many.
Yeah.
I have a lot of neurodivergent rep. I have autism, ADHD, OCD, dyslexia, audio processing disorder. And then I also have a lot of chronic illnesses, fibromyalgia, POTS, celiac disease, allergies, and a lot of glasses, which people always, every time I mention, yes, this has disability rep because my characters wear glasses. They're like, that's not a disability. And I'm like,
How dare.
actually, it is because I cannot function without my glasses. Like in the
Mhm.
zombie apocalypse, if my glasses get broken, I'm eaten first.
Yes.
I'm eaten first. That's what's happening because everybody's, vision is a spectrum, just like every disability. So some people can function without their glasses.
Hmm.
But for the characters that I write and for myself personally, I can't legally cannot drive without my glasses. I cannot write. I cannot read. I can, if I'm moving around in an unfamiliar place, I have to like have my hands out in front of me because I can't see 5 inches in front of my face. Like
Oh
if
my
I'm
goodness.
doing makeup, my mirror, yeah, my
You're
vision is
like me.
really,
You're just
it's
like,
really bad.
yeah.
And so when I give characters glasses, people are like, that's not a disability. I'm like, yes, it is. These are my ability aid. I
Yeah.
need them to function.
Yeah.
Vision is totally a disability. It's just on a spectrum like everything else, depending on how good or bad it is. So,
A lot of people are in this, I think, in the -4 diopter range, and I think that they don't realize how different that can be from being into the like severe or even moderate range
mhm.
of myopia. I actually just recently had LASIK, and like people were sort of like, "Oh, this cosmetic." I'm like, "You don't understand. I had -8 diopters of
Oh,
correction."
wow.
That's almost basically it's like legally blind. Like when they left me alone in the room at the surgical prep without my glasses, and I had this terrible moment of like, oh my God, if there's an earthquake, I'm dead. I can't find
Hmm.
anything. I can't find the door. I knew where the door was because she had just gone out of it, but I had just an awful, awful moment of like, I need to get this done because I can't see anything. If there is any kind of disaster, I am going to die without my glasses. And I'm really glad that they did it. I mean, there's just a big difference between like having a little bit of correction and having like I can't find my glasses without my glasses levels of correction.
Yeah.
And it
I've
also
done that so
created
many times.
like it created like mutating and morphing at the sides of my vision and migraines and stuff because I had these really thick
Mhm.
glasses and they have to do weird things to even fit them into frames. Eventually I had to go frameless because they didn't fit no matter what I did. So yeah, people don't understand that like there's a big difference between like needing a
Yeah.
little correction and being outright blind.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I,
I
I
love
would
that you do that.
wonder, I would wonder with how common glasses or contacts is, we don't know, that it almost makes it seem normal,
Yeah.
right? And so they
Yeah.
don't see it
Hmm.
as, but I also remember growing up, and I'm older than both of you, wearing glasses, there was sort of a stigma attached to it,
Yes.
right? You four eyes
Hmm.
and I mentioned I was reading the other Bennett sister, and when she decides to get glasses so she can read. She's having trouble reading, and Mrs. Bennett just her head explodes, right? Because how that would look and all this stuff. So we've come, it's like we've come all this way, and now everybody's got glasses. I mean, we've heard people wear them just to look smart, even though it's like glass, like
That's
Yeah.
funny.
no prescription. So I wonder, if that's part of the attitude of, well, that's no big deal.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you struggle, my eyesight isn't as bad as either of yours, but yeah, life would definitely be more difficult
Orange cat, get off my keyboard.
if I didn't wear readers and contacts.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about romance is we are seeing a lot of representation in all sorts of areas, including in disability. I'm just curious, with you writing a variety of different types, are there any challenges that you have run into, either in terms of writing it or maybe even the reception of it, somebody reading it and having thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's always challenges, especially if you're writing outside your lived experience. Most of my disability rep comes from lived experience, but some is outside. I am autistic, but I am not ADHD. However, my spouse, my oldest, my sister, surrounded by people with ADHD. I also don't have celiac, but a lot of the people in my family do. My sister does, my niece. So with those books, that's when you have to be extra, extra careful to make sure you're getting the representation right. But even when you write from a lived experience, like with my OCD, with my autism, all that stuff, you're going to have people that are like, well, this isn't like mine at all. And so I
Yeah.
try to inform the readers of that and be like, hey, this is just one person's experience because everything in the world, every disability, every person, every job, everything is on a spectrum and everybody experiences it differently. There is no monolith. There is no one experience that's universal. It's all different. And so someone might read my book with OCD rep and be like, oh my gosh, that's so accurate. That's exactly how I feel. Those compulsions are exactly what I do. And someone else reads it and is like, that's nothing like me. I don't connect to this at all. And that's just the nature of it when you're writing disability rep or really any kind of marginalized experience. You're not going to be representative of the community as a whole. And that's okay. You're just representing you're adding another voice to the representation in the community. And so that's how I try and go into it thinking this is just another voice in the community of disability rep, just another OCD book in all the books that rep OCD, another book with autism in all the books that rep autism, because there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there. Everyone should go look up all the books because they're great.
Yeah.
I love
I
that.
think for writers, one of the things to be really careful would be to make sure that, especially if it is out of your lived experience, maybe talking to people who have, just
Sensitivity
because
reader.
well, yeah, because it might be a little easy to fall into some sort of stereotypes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when sensitivity readers become very important, especially
Yeah.
when you're writing outside your experience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, where do you think like we are with disability rep and romance? Like, how much do you think still needs to be done from here? And what do you think authors and readers need to know about disability rep?
I think we're we could be doing better. I'm seeing more and more as the years go on, which is great and wonderful. I think we could be doing a lot better. I think publishers could be advocating for more disability rep in books. I think we could definitely be uplifting the voices of BIPOC disability representation because a lot of time all we see is white disability. So we need to include other people in that as well, not just the white authors, but the BIPOC authors too, who are writing amazing disability rep. And I think I am thankfully seeing the cured by love
Oh,
mechanic
God.
being retired more, which is great. Because I have to say, with disability rep, I think two things that people still get wrong is the love will cure your disability. No, absolutely not. and inspiration. Like, oh, look at this beautiful inspirational disability story. You have no excuse now, you able-bodied person. Like, those are two
Mhm.
things that really need to go away forever. But I still see them popping up sometimes, which is bleh.
I was trying to think because I've been reading for a little while, and I was trying to think of stories that I read long time ago in which there was somebody with a disability. And I remember I can think of two. They were both written by Sandra Brown, and one was a woman who was deaf. For in my mind, she was blind, but it turned I looked it up, she was deaf. And the other was a man in a wheelchair. But yeah, those were the only two I could think of after reading for many, many years, maybe before you were born. And so now we are seeing more, not just sort of physical disability, but also neurodivergence.
Hmm.
We're seeing. So I mean, that's nice because people, as you said, they're on a different spectrum in terms
Yeah.
of their lived experiences, how they cope with them, the skills they have, all that kind of stuff plays in there. And I think more readers really like to see real people. I mean, when I first started reading romance, the women were always 5'7" and beautiful, right?
It's all like models.
Right? They were models.
Mhm.
The men, to a certain extent, are still 6'1" and hunky, but and I remember the first time reading a Laurie Foster book that had a woman who was overweight and being so excited because that was something I always struggled with, right? So why would that not be for everything else, right?
Yeah.
Have short women,
Short men,
women
Yes.
who are
Short
tall,
King.
right? Like what if you had a
super
six
tall
foot
women. Yeah.
one woman and
Hmm.
a 5'7" man, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, I mean, there's just, and so I think the diversity only helps. That I mean, and romance is the one that seems to always be at the forefront of that,
Hmm.
and sometimes it
Yes.
might get it wrong a little bit, but they're pushing that. Like, let's have more people in here. So I do give it credit for that, even though
Yes.
it does can sometimes mess it up a little bit.
I have an
Yeah.
attendant question on this, and this is something that I go back and forth on. What do you think about the issue of like depicting characters with disability who are like not always don't always feel like good people or always like really relatable people? I see readers go back and forth on this. I see authors go back and forth on this. I go back and forth on this mentally. Like for instance, that there was a it was an author who wrote a her main character was deaf. And but it was also kind of a jerk. And like some people reading it were kind of bothered by this. It's like, okay, I really love the rep, but also this character is such a jerk. And at the same time, I was like, well, like sometimes, I mean, it's okay for a deaf person to be a jerk. They could be any number of things, but also I can understand why a deaf community or even other readers might be frustrated that like we have this rep, but also this character is a jerk. I was wondering what you thought about that.
So my thoughts are, yeah, like everybody's a jerk. Everybody's a jerk sometime. And
Yeah.
especially like when you're disabled and the world is not built for you, there's so many frustrations. So sometimes we get very frustrated and the jerk just comes out. I think where the problem lies is the people who have any type of character that has a disability and they're either a jerk or they're the bad guy, and they're a jerk or they're a bad guy because of their disability. If the origin story of their evilness, of their badness is their disability, that's a problem. Also, if they are the only one in this world of your book who has a disability and they're the jerk, that's the problem. Like, make
Gotcha.
them human, make them well-rounded, give them dimension. Absolutely, they can be angry sometimes. You can have a villain that has a disability. Just don't make them the villain because of their disability. That's when it goes into problematic and insensitive territory.
Yeah, I see. I feel like I see that a lot. Yeah, I mean, this character was kind of a jerk because of their disability, but it's also because they were frustrated with people around them. That felt
Yeah.
very real to me, honestly.
Yeah.
You
But I can understand why
suggested
people
that
were frustrated
that
too.
character was a woman, right? Because
Yes.
there's a part of me that is sitting here saying men can be jerks I mean, we got a whole classification of romance novels where men are jerks, right? Like,
Alpha
Yeah,
holes.
yes.
um,
Yeah.
And so if it were a man being like that, they might get a bigger pass than a woman, right?
Yes. I read a
Which is
character
a
who is
whole other thing on top of it, right?
I write a character. It's my one of my MMCs. He's bipolar. He's addicted to substance abuse, and he has PTSD. And he's a jerk sometimes. And I feel like people give him a pass because he's a guy. I feel like
Mhm.
if I had a woman doing this, she would not get away
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got
Oh,
layers and layers of
yep.
society on top of all this, which is unfortunate. And
Yeah.
yeah, but we plug forward and hopefully we help people see the
Yep.
reality of it. I mean, we're farther along than we were when I started reading romance, and all the women were 5'7" and blonde with long hair, right? So, you have a new book coming out. It's a billionaire romance with an
Yes.
aerialist, Backstage Night with the Billionaire. How did
Yes.
this story come about? Because aerialist, I'm like, okay, I don't think I've read that ever. So,
There are a few. It's definitely like lower on the sports romance spectrum, but there definitely
mhm.
are a few aerialist romance writers out there. So I actually do aerials.
Okay.
It is my hobby outside of writing. I've been doing it, uh, oh goodness, since 2018. So almost 10 years now. And I love it. And I've written a few aerialists before this book. But this book, I just thought it would be so funny to pair a romantic, like down on her luck aerialist, because we all know the arts do not pay well,
Mm.
no
Right.
matter what you're in. So, romantic down on her luck aerialist with a rich, cynical billionaire. He thinks he's been cursed by love. He doesn't believe in love. She believes in nothing but love. She like falls in love at first sight. And I'm like, oh, pairing those two together would be so fun because I'm a huge fan of like opposites attract and things like that. So I'm like, this would be fun. And really any excuse to like shove aerials in a book and then I can use like my aerial videos as promo material.
I saw you
Like,
doing that.
like, yes, now I'll just film aerial content and that's the promo for my book. I love it. And encourage other people to try aerials because it's really fun and I think everyone should try it. So I love writing aerialists.
Your stick figure Instagram one was perfect. You missed your calling.
I know I should have been an artist. I'm so good at
I
drawing.
clicked on the carousel and I was like, I should have expected that.
Yep.
Now, just to be clear, when we talk about aerialists, I'm sitting here thinking of Pink when she does her shows. Is it like that, or is it more like
No,
Cirque du Soleil?
more like Cirque du Soleil. Pink
Okay.
is on like wires. That's
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
If you've seen Lindsay Sterling, she does aerials while doing her
Okay.
violin stuff. But yeah, it's like Cirque du Soleil. It's silk,
Okay.
sling, hoop,
Okay.
sometimes trapeze, straps, ropes, all the
Okay.
fun stuff.
My first
Seems like it's
experience with
pretty
Aerialist
sexy.
was actually going to a Midsummer Night's Dream production in the gardens at Hampton Court that had all of the fairies doing aerials in like with a lot of like fabric and stuff, and they had like
That's so
dressed up the
cool.
fabric with like
Oh,
flowers
fun.
and stuff, and it was really cool. I loved it.
Wonder what Shakespeare would have thought of that.
That's so cool.
I think
He
he would
would.
have thought it was badass.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
would have liked
especially
it. He
because
would have been
there's
like,
women
that's
in it now,
cool.
right?
Well, yeah, yeah. I think he might have thought that was cool too. I don't know. Well, so Mariah here also, this is near and dear to my heart, runs online events on Instagram, like Author April and Author
Mhm.
August, which, as you know, Mariah, I love to be part of. I usually tell our authors to take part in these events as well and to like practice posting more often and increasing their social media presence. And I was wondering if you could tell our listeners a little bit about Author April, what it is, and like why you
Yeah.
decided to host it.
Yeah, so oh man, when did I start these? I think it was like back in 2021, maybe somewhere in the pandemic when that was all full force. And I was like, man, it is so hard to post every day, but they're like, be consistent, post every day. And I was actually at like my kid's friend's birthday party sitting there and I'm like, oh, what if I did a monthly calendar prompt and like just invited everybody to post and stuff? And so that's kind of like where it was born from. And so now Author April, Author August, because I love alliterations. It's just a twice a year. I post the calendar prompts like a couple weeks before the month starts so people can start prepping. Some of the prompts are the same, like Saturday is always check in where you're doing, like word count or status. We do main character Mondays, Tuesday teasers. And then there's different things about either the stories that you're writing or you as an author, your habits and the things you prefer, the things you like, the things you don't. And it's just a prompt welcome for everybody. Anyone can do it. Indie, trad, if you're a hobbyist, if you write fanfic, poetry, nonfiction, fiction, anyone who's a writer is totally welcome to participate. And you just take the prompt of the day. You can do one day, you can do all the days, doesn't matter. It's low pressure. And it's just a way that I can kind of like give back to the writing community and help them out, twice a year with a month full of prompts so that they don't have to use their creative focus for that. Because I feel like social media pulls so much of our creativity out of us.
Mhm.
It's like this way, at least there's 2 months a year where you don't have to think, you just have to answer.
Yeah.
I'll do the thinking for you. You just answer the question, boom, you've got content for a month.
And it's more than just a month. Like it's really good practice for people. Like you get into the habit, right? You make templates for yourself. Like you can keep doing like main character Mondays and check-in
Hmm.
Saturdays and teaser Tuesdays, like and it's also inspired other people to do things like Friday Spark. And I always post it
Yes.
to our writing group. I always send it to our authors, when we've got a release coming out, like do this, do author April, do author August, like develop your social media presence, get practice, get onto Canva, like dust off your Canva templates and get yourself out there, and like and build your presence. And I'm really grateful to you for running this because it's also like helpful to me to see that there's all these other authors who are doing this and shove our new authors out into it and be like, get out there, like post about your stuff.
Yeah, do it. People
Yeah.
want to know.
I'm
Yeah,
curious,
exactly.
do you find any sort of post resonates more with readers than others?
With readers, they really love character art. Readers really love character art. And I
Yeah.
think they really like learning about your characters, like more than what's in the book. They really want to know like how you created this character because then it helps them connect to it and helps them
Yeah.
connect to the story. So they really
Mhm.
love anything that's going to bring them more into the story and connect with these characters.
Characters. Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
I wish I was better at it, but I get frustrated with it
Hmm.
very easily for all the reasons everybody always says, right? But when we were getting ready to do this call, I went over to your Instagram and I was just like, this is great. I should do this. But then
See, this is
as
why I
I'm
won't leave.
looking at everything, I'm like, I don't know how I'd come up with that idea. Then I'd have to make the thing, like, I mean,
Mhm.
all of a sudden I'm overwhelmed by it. So Tara takes care of me.
It can be overwhelming. It's a lot.
A
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You
yeah.
have to try not to compare yourself to other people. It's a slow, slow game, like
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
like Instagram's always changing, but there's a reason I won't leave it. Like I feel like the writing community there is really strong, and I feel like the
Hmm.
readers are still there. Like I do not
Hmm.
feel like the readers are not on Instagram.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
getting a lot of ads. They're getting a lot. It's a lot of noise, so you have to find a way to
Well,
cut
that's
through
just
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the ad thing, it's problematic, right?
Mhm.
Because, we hear people all the time, oh, I don't even just go on there anymore because all I got is ads.
Yeah.
Facebook is the worst. You never see anybody you're following on there
Oh yeah. Oh my
anymore,
God,
Yeah.
right?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've lost the faith in Facebook. It does feel like there's nobody there.
And it's sort
I
of
could be wrong.
unfortunate because in some ways, for at least for an old lady like me, it's easier to connect like through groups and stuff. It's nice to be able to have an easy exchange between your readers that I don't really feel so much like on Instagram, you have the comments, but it's just, I don't know, it just feels different to me. Um, Anyway, adaptations. Do you like to watch adaptations of books? Because there's a lot this year. Um,
It's a lot. I
yeah.
prefer to watch the movie first and then read the
Mhm.
book because the book is
Oh,
always better. So I watch the movie, I'm like, oh, that
yeah.
was great. And then I read the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Instead
So
of the
Yeah.
I'm
other way
not
around.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do it the other way around,
Yeah.
like you're going to be disappointed. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I prefer movie first, then book. Or if I've read the book, sometimes I'll like wait a bit for the movie to like forget the book, forget the book, forget the book, then go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's and along with this, the adaptation you might be looking forward to, and whether you like them, is there a book you wish would have an adaptation?
Mm.
So
Oh,
both adaptation and and maybe one you're looking forward to this year. There's lots of them, or maybe it's already come
I
out.
I would love any book by Talia Hibbert to be made. I know she like had some optioned. I don't know how that's going, but like
Yeah.
any Talia Hibbert book or Evie Mitchell book to be optioned would be so amazing because I
Yeah.
love both of their books. And I don't know if it's from a book, but Under the Tuscan Sun, is that from a book?
I think that was a book.
Because that, I want to see that. It looks so
Isn't,
cute.
yeah, with what's her name?
Or wait, is that what it's called? Maybe it's not called Under the Tuscan Sun. It's that new one with,
Oh, with
um,
Regé.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
Tuscan
with the
something or
Duke.
Tuscany
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a book. Yeah. The guy
Yeah, it's
left Bridgerton to make it big in the world, and this is the first
yeah,
thing we're
and
gonna see him
and
in.
Halle Berry from The Little
That's
Mermaid.
right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like
I don't know if that was a book, was it?
if it's not a book, it should be a book because it looks so cute. I want to see that one.
What
I
about
know
you,
it's out
Tara?
already, but I usually wait till things come to streaming because I need my
Yeah.
captions.
Hmm.
Theaters
Oh,
are
yeah.
hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Tara?
Well, I mean, our Substack article about Evelina, and I just remembered how tight and fantastic a romance it is. And I love my Jane Austen adaptations. I'm so glad that they always do them. But I really wish that BBC would do like a full like Fanny Burney, Evelina, Cecilia, Camilla adaptation. I think that these are really good old historic romances. And I mean, Cecilia's a little messy. They could probably drop some of the early stuff with like her like the wards who are taking care of her money and like the guy who like wants to off himself. All that could probably be removed. But there's a really good romance at the center of it with all this stuff about like gender dynamics and like the pride of families. I think that it would make a really good adaptation. And Evelina's just like you can't read it without thinking like, oh my goodness, like you can see that Jane Austen was highly influenced by this, and it make a really good movie. So BBC, if you're listening, which I know you're not, but that would make a very good
You
adaptation.
should message them or something. Yeah, yeah. I am looking forward to the other Bennett sister. I've been watching clips on the YouTube, and I have been reading the book. And I have sometimes seen a movie and gone back and read the book, but I am one of those people that sometimes, oh, I'm going to read it first. And I feel like I'm pretty good at recognizing adaptations aren't going to be the same. I'm sometimes surprised at what they change. Like it makes no sense to me
Hmm.
why they might change something, you know. The last Bridgerton season, there were some things they changed, and I was glad for it because there were
Mm.
some things in the book I didn't like very much. But you know, I enjoy that. I am looking forward to the Pride and Prejudice, even though I'm a little worried about it because Netflix messed up Persuasion so
Mm.
horrifically badly.
Some bad adaptations lately.
But
New
I'm
Wuthering Heights.
when I look at the actors who are in it, I'm like hopeful that, it'll be good. In terms of and I saw Beach Read is from Emily Henry. I was surprised that isn't the first adaptation since that was the breakout book. But anyways, and Patrick Schwarzenegger is going to be playing the lead character. He was so good in White Lotus this last season. Did you watch? No.
I don't watch White Lotus. I
He was
watched
a
like the first
he was
episode.
a
I was like, oh,
perfect
that's not for me.
he was a perfect entitled douchebag in it. But then something happens. You have to watch it. Something happens and he is completely changed. Like, and I don't want to go into a, because it's spoiler and that's part of the fun of the show. Um, but I was like, okay, he's not just a perfect douchebag. Not that I have no reason to think so, but you just think nepotism and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Um, but no, he did good, and yeah, that was crazy. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if you read Beach Read, but that's two authors, and they end up in Michigan on a lake, and they both are having writer's block, and they decide they're gonna one's a romance writer and I can't remember what he is. I don't know if he's like a Dan Brown type or horror. I can't remember what he is, but they decide they're gonna switch and write. They're not
Oh
gonna write each
no.
other's books, but they're going to like
Oh,
as a switch, they're going to try and write something different just to get them out. Anyways, it's sort of cute.
That's
There was a
cute.
part in it that I would hope they change because I didn't like it. I just felt it was weak. So we'll see. But in terms of adaptations that I am really I wish they would do would be the J.D. Robin death books. I love those books. The first couple are really good. I think they would be so fun because they're set slightly in the, well, now it's only slightly in the future. At the time she wrote them, it was 60 years in the future, right? But Eve is a kick-ass cop. Rourke, a Irish billionaire who doesn't have a last name. Like he's, it's procedural, like a cop procedural. But yeah, I would love to see that. And I don't know if they were ever optioned, but I remember a long time ago on the internet, when the internet was first growing, there were people who were really wanting that to happen. And I remember them picking Mariska Hargitay as wanting her to play Eve.
Oh
Uh,
man.
of course, she's too old now, right?
No, she never,
Um,
no, she'll never be too old.
because
Mariska till the end.
Eve is like 29, right? So
She's still 29 in my heart.
but I mean, that's the type of character is like she's just tough. And anyways, I would love to see that. And I would also I think it would be fun to see the heist books from Janet Ivanovich and Lee Goldberg. I just think those would be fun to watch.
Unfortunate romance is sort of on the wane right now, that it's like not as popular as it used to be, you know.
Yeah.
It was like the first time I had really even understood what romantic suspense was when we were in the lead up to Pause and Peril. I was like, what's romantic suspense? And I realized I had read it before, but I was a kid in the 90s, so I just didn't know that that was what my mom was listening to on audiobook. You know, I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
do know what this is, you know. But I
Yeah,
wish
and
it
it
would
was
come
big
back
in the
around.
90s, right? Because you
Yeah.
had Sandra Brown, Nora Roberts moved into it. We had Linda Howard. We had, like all of them. Yeah. It was really, yeah. And now I think we see, the adaptations are the books that are big. So they tend to be rom-com books,
Hmm.
right? Those are the same books that did well during COVID and now they have trad print deals, right? So, and I guess the unfortunate thing about, and this kind of goes back to arcs too, like who gets arcs and what arcs they get is the bigger you are, the more attention you're going to get, and
Hmm.
the more likely you're going to get, a TV show or a
Mhm.
movie, or I mean a lot. I don't know if a lot of people know, but not every book gets not every publisher will do an audiobook.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So they'll buy your audio rights, but whether or not they make an audiobook, not guaranteed. And so, when people are like, how come you don't have an audiobook or whatever? Well, I don't have the money or I don't have the rights and my publisher
Hmm.
won't do it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I
So,
predict that we're probably going to see a lot of romantasy adaptations. Like I think that that's probably going to come down the pike. I'm
what do
surprised
you
it
think
hasn't
the
happened
first
yet.
one will be? Will it be Akutar or will it be Fourth Wing?
It's one of those. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
I truly don't. I think that the spicier of the two is more likely though.
I wonder if there's wagers on it, right?
I need to see if there are options out there. That'll tell me. What do you think, Mariah?
Um, I don't know about the romantasy because I know that with romantasy, especially if you have like dragons and high fae and all this kind of stuff, that is a lot of money for
That's right.
CGI.
Yeah.
And I know studios are kind of pulling back on
Hmm.
that because
Hmm.
shows and things like that are super expensive. So unless they can guarantee a huge payout,
Hmm.
I think some of the like really high fantasy romantasies might be harder sells just because the studios don't want to, they're like, we don't want to spend the money on that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see though.
That's a
So
good
we
question.
usually try to end off with our what we're reading right now and what we recommend. So let's start with our guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just got the most recent Lore Olympus
Mm.
collection. I think it's volume
Ooh.
9.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
in the middle of Lore Olympus volume 9. I
We're on
love
9.
Lore Olympus so much. Yeah, they're on like 9 already.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
know, I think like someone said, oh, the webtoon is already like all the web. I'm like, no, I don't. I want to read it in the book. I'll wait. I'm fine. I'll wait. I'll be patient. Anticipation. Yes. So I love Lore Olympus. Anyone who has not read Lore Olympus, I would highly recommend reading it. It's lots of fun.
I read that on webtoons back in the day. I usually keep up with it using webtoons, being of the impatient sort myself.
So I'm behind.
So
No
I need to get the
spoilers.
volume. Yeah, I have to get the volumes. I should get the first one for my niece when she was
They're
in a she
so
was in a big Hades
pretty.
and Persephone phase. So I had to get it
Mhm.
for her, which was great. I was like, things I can get for you that are not, like young adult things. It's fun to have an adult niece. Jenna, what are you reading? What do you recommend?
Well, I am reading the other Bennett sister.
Hmm. Do you recommend it though?
I'm enjoying it. It's not as difficult to read if you were to go read Austen, but you definitely see that way of talking and writing in there. It's a little bit more accessible in it. And I'm trying to decide what I have to remind myself when I read it is this is mostly Mary. It does sort of have the high level point of view. Like it's Mary's story, but every now and then, we're hearing Elizabeth thought this or whatever. I'm like, how do you know that? But it's Mary's story. And so I'm constantly reminding myself of this is how Mary saw them, right? So how we might and how we believe we know Lizzie, how we believe we know Mrs. Bennet, how we believe we know the rest of them. Kitty and Lydia are about the same.
Silly and annoying.
But Mrs. Bennet sometimes feels crueler to me
Hmm.
than I remember, but also Mary has it more difficult because
Hmm.
she is not like her sisters in terms of having either beauty or charm or, all that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting take on it. And it's also interesting because I am just now at the part where they're at the party where Darcy asks Elizabeth to dance. And Mary's trying to impress Mr. Collins because she's decided, oh, he's bookish, I'm bookish. Um, I could save the family type of thing. And she's just played the piano. You all know the scene, right?
Hmm.
And
Oh,
embarrassed the family. Her father
Really
has
bad for
come.
Mary in that.
Yeah.
me
And
too.
so to read her going into it like this is going to be great, and I'm being brave and then, have it just not go at all. That was tough. So
Hmm.
overall, I'm enjoying it. I am eager to get to the part when we get past Pride and Prejudice and she's, I must be a third through and we have not met the love interests. There's two of them.
Oh, wow.
Haven't met one of them yet. So not
Whoa.
romance technically, but still fun. Yeah.
Wow. We're a
Yeah.
third of the way through without the love interest? Without even a hint? Good Lord.
No, because we're still in Pride and Prejudice. And
Hmm.
my understanding is she's going to go to London, like with the Gardners. And I
Mm.
think that's where she meets, or maybe she becomes a governor. I'm not quite sure because I haven't read it yet, but
Mm.
she goes somewhere and that's
That's
where
a
she meets
choice.
them.
I would
Yeah.
have had her meet him at a ball, at least early on, and be like corresponding in the background so that it's
Yeah.
still we have a
Hmm.
sense of
Yeah.
him,
But not in the
even if we're
book, right?
doing Pride and Prejudice. That's very weird.
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
Yeah.
it's not in Pride and Prejudice, but we wouldn't necessarily see it, right? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary's kind of
But
doing
that's a
her own thing
tough
in the
one,
corner.
right? Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, she has danced with somebody, Mrs. Bennett. That I think that's the most. Sometimes it comes off cruel. I'll be interested to see how it comes off in the show.
Hmm.
The whole thing about the glasses.
Hmm.
She's pretty harsh on the glasses, but Mary's determined. I'm gonna read.
She
Yeah.
should. Like,
Go Mary.
Yeah.
yeah, keep her glasses on. Get
Go
headaches.
Mary.
Yeah. But it's, her experience in that family is difficult because she's plain, she's awkward, she's ignored for the most part.
She's treated
Um,
like a know-it-all.
she's she will try to engage, but what she says is like comes off either that or judgy or yeah, she's just awkward.
Hmm.
It made me, we were speaking about neurodivergence earlier. It made me wonder,
Hmm.
maybe
Oh,
that's
oh
her.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jane Austen
Yeah.
is full of neurodivergent characters. Mr. Darcy, that man is autistic.
Yes,
Yes.
So
yes,
autistic.
yes, yes. Could
Yeah.
just see how
Yeah.
uncomfortable he is. And he even says it. I do not have the skill to converse with people I do
Yeah.
not know. He says it
Yeah.
in the book.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
You just don't have a language to describe that, like, it's not just that he lacks a skill. He
yeah.
cannot. He is
Yeah.
extremely uncomfortable in this situation.
Yeah.
It's not going to get better. It's not just because he
No.
hasn't realized how amazing balls are. He's never going to like them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons sometimes I don't like the alternative books for Pride and Prejudice is because he seems different. He chuckles in one of them. I'm like, Darcy would never chuckle.
You and chuckling.
Not a million years.
No.
Jenna
Yeah.
hates chuckling.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, that's me. What about you, Tara?
Well, I wrote our Evelina article this week, so I've been
Yeah.
rereading my Jane Austen at Home by Lucy Worsley. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a relaxed biography. It relaxed in the sense that like it's very readable. It's just very enjoyable to read. But the thing about Lucy is that she just moves so like easily. There's like a facility between all these different points of view with the correspondence. I have my Jane Austen correspondence as well, and I'll bring it out when she points out a letter or something like that that I need to go look at. But yeah, she just sort of is just randomly will just be like, oh yeah, and they were at the time they were reading their favorite, Mariah Edgeworth. They were reading Evelina, and this is what they thought about Evelina, showing that she really understood these letters and has like really brought them into herself. And so that's been wonderful to read. And I'm also continuing to read Ava Leclerc's Shadow of Betrayal, which is being serialized on Substack. It's like a dark romance. It's been really fun.
Mariah, I want to thank you so much. I really have enjoyed talking with you today and learning about your books and watching your
Talking about disability
Instagram.
rep.
Thank you so much
Exactly.
for having me. It was
Exactly.
wonderful being here. It was so nice talking to
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah. And I
We really
do love your
appreciate it.
glasses. I
Yes,
think
they're so
Thank you.
cute. You have the cutest
I want
glasses.
to get a pair.
Thank
And
you.
if go check her Instagram so you can see these great glasses. They're awesome.
I have way too many heart-shaped glasses. I have a problem.
My friend Sabrina and I both had LASIK, and she fears the idea of getting up close glasses, like having to, reading
hmm
glasses and stuff. And I actually showed her your glasses and was like, look, we'll go together. We'll go get some cute reading glasses just like these. We're gonna look
Cute.
amazing. And she saw yours and was like, oh yeah. Oh yes,
hmm
that's what I need. So like you've inspired us. Thank you.
Yay.
I do hope you'll come on again when you have another release. We've loved talking to
Yes,
you, and there's so
of
much to talk
course. I
about with
love that.
Disability Rep. I would love
hmm
that. So we really
Yeah.
appreciate it. We
Thank you
are
so
Tender and
much.
Tempting Tales. This is Illicit Liaisons. You can find us on Instagram. That's Tender Tempting Tales at Instagram. You can also find us on Substack. We have weekly articles coming out. We talk about romancing the past. We talk about romance reading. We have romance challenges, and you can find us there, Tender and Tempting Tales on Substack. And of course, we have calls open right now. We've got Fantastical Foes open until the end of the month. That is Romantasy, Enemies to Lovers Romantasy. Stories up to 7,000 words. That's for our second zine. And we have Starlit and Spellbound, which is opening next month. That is an anthology for stories that are under 10,000 words. And that's any subgenre of romance. Please make sure you look at our guidelines. And we'd love to see submissions from new and existing and experienced romance authors, whatever you guys are thinking. But please do reach out if you have any questions. Jenna?
Again, Mariah, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, everybody who's listening, for tuning in and joining us. Please be sure to stop by wherever we are and comment because we'd love to hear from you and whatever your hot takes are because we like to talk the drama, of course. And until next time, peace, love, and happily ever after.